This story from the Canine national epic is about two parts of the country where both of them want the sample. Vanneman goes to the local forestry Elmerine to make the sample. When he first begins to make it, he produces a bow of a boat, a rowboat, a cow and a plough before he produces the sample. The sample is delivered to Louis and her part of the country. They return home, and as they are returning home, they are wondering who the rightful owner of the sample. Vanneman returns to Louis' house and seals back the sample. They try to return back to their own part, but while on sea, returning home, they are attacked by wolves and a giant eagle. They are nearly home, but they start to fight for the sample on the sea. The eagle lifts the sample and then after is killed. The sample is lost and broken into pieces forever. He who's forget a shampoo shall have my daughter in marriage, warbled Louis. Just then the maiden of the north stepped from behind a fence, her cheeky rosy silver spangles tinkling on her brow, golden braces on her wrists, and costly bangles climbing from her bosom. Elmerine had never beheld a more wondrous damsel. He was ready to forge a sample at once, if that was what the maiden and her mother wished. And so, beyond a great undertaking in the wilds of the north, a day went into buildings, the bellows, a second into the forge, and on the third day the furnace was fired. At last the hammering began. Elmerine the smith hammered and hammered. A great bow emerged from the flames. I don't need one of those, grumbled the crone of the north. The smith went on hammering. The next emerged an iron rowboat, followed by a tin cow, and then a plough, but then Crone of the North would have none of them. Greatly vexed, the smith hammered more fiercely than ever. Flames burst from the windows, sparks flew from the door, and smoke boiled into the sky. At last, there emerged from the flames the sample, the salt mill, the flour mill, the money mill, the bringer of all the good things. Louis, mistress of the north, stood upon her witch's stool and brandished her staff. Darkness fell upon the north as Louis cast a mighty spell. Let the mist descend from heaven upon the open waters, she bellowed. Iku Tarsu, water spirit, lift your head above the waters. Overwhelm these wicked warriors. At once a thick fog descended on the sea. Vannemonian no longer knew which way to row, but he too was a mighty sorcerer. Waving his sword and shouting spells, he conjured the fog away. But now the sea boiled before Cavella's vessel, and Iktarsu raised his ugly head from the water. Elmerine quickly hid beneath a blanket, whimpering, but an aged seraphist. Vannem leapt atop told Tarsu's head and grabbed. Now in turn, the gap-toothed crone of the north displayed her prowess, turning herself into an eagle, taking as many warriors as she could on her back. Flapping to the honour of Vamra's crew straight for their mast. Have you come to share the sample? The seer snarled. So he marshalled his forces, stood at the stern of the ship, and hurled at the thunderous spells at the skies. Let a rock grow up before them, let a hidden reef rise up, and the Northland's vessel run aground, dumping 100 walls into the sea.